The things we're talking about are not just academic subjects. They're important for the church. This church is maybe 50, 60 years old, beautiful church. But we are the church, and we're over 2,000 years old. And we need to be concerned about our health as the church. And we have a mission that's been given to us by Christ. And we take it seriously, but we don't always execute the way that we should. One area that I think of is that we're not serving well those among us who are scientists. Scientists often feel marginalized in their workplace because they're people of faith. And then they come to church and they feel marginalized here because they've accepted certain scientific conclusions that maybe aren't very popular inside these walls. You know, Jesus had a way of reaching out to those who are marginalized. Even the shepherds, they were approached by the angels, and those who were marginalized were brought in at that first announcement. We need to begin seeing that we need to welcome them and help them to learn how to put their worlds together, their world of science and their world of faith. A second area that I think of is the area of evangelism. Too often in our world, we may encounter people who might be very open to the gospel, but they've come to think, whether we've given them an idea or they've gotten it somewhere else, they've come to think that if they are going to become Christians, that they have to totally revise the science which they firmly believe. And so the scientific conclusions become a hurdle to the gospel. And I'm worried that we have encumbered the gospel with obstacles that don't belong there. We need to begin doing evangelism in ways that will not create a hindrance in Bible and science for some of those folks to consider the claims of Christ. A third area that comes to mind involves our own young people who grow up in the church. And sometimes we convey to them somehow that if they accept certain scientific conclusions, that they have therefore rejected their faith, rejected the Bible, rejected Christ, and they've believed us. And when they go off to university and hear the claims of science and are persuaded by them, they think they've got a big decision to make, to either accept science or to reject it in order to hold on to their faith. With the things we've talked about today, I think we can give them a different message. And that message is that even if they accept those scientific claims, they can still hold firm to the Bible and to sound theology. They can still be part of the faith. And I'm hoping that we can stop the attrition, the hemorrhaging, some would say, of young people away from the church by giving them alternatives for reading Scripture soundly, seriously. In the end, I think that we have to begin focusing on values that we need to recognize so that we can proceed as the church. Those values are represented in some of the affirmations that we make and some of the commitments that we have. Our affirmations are ones like, we affirm that God created everything that exists. However we define creation, God has done it. God is able to create either instantaneously or through long processes that could be traced through materialistic explanations. God is able to do it any way he chooses. Thirdly, that human beings are unique creations of God, and therefore they have a unique dignity and worth. A fourth affirmation, the acceptance of evolutionary explanations is not inherently godless, though some make it out to be that. And a last affirmation, that the wonder of the universe testifies to the glory of God, the Creator, regardless of the means or the mechanisms that he used to bring it into existence. These will lead us to three basic commitments. First of all, we are committed to taking the Bible seriously. by seeking more informed models for understanding the Bible and more nuanced ways of interpreting it. We're committed to taking science seriously. Scientific inquiry is important, and we want to seek more informed models and more sophisticated ways for understanding the universe and the world around us. And finally, and maybe the most important, we must be committed to interacting with each other with grace and peace, and to seek reducing the barriers that could lead to understanding one another better. We need to be God's people, the church. I hope that what we've talked about today can take us a few further steps along that path. God helping us. Thanks for listening.